Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fentech HTML and CSS class. I'm sure you guys are all excited for the class. Well, I just want to say congratulations for making it to this stage, and I wish you all success throughout the journey. Now, for this HTML, we're going to be talking on the fundamentals of HTML and CSS. We're going to be talking on the advanced concepts, and we're going to be building a website. Now, for HTML, we have code editors like Visual Studio Code, Android Studio Code, Notepad, and Live Server can be used to launch your website. Now, if your system is not, that is your laptop, if your laptop is not one that is very strong, do not download Visual Studio Code or Android Studio. Instead, we can make do of Notepad, because if you do such, let me just say, like, your laptop is going to fry, because it is going to crash. For a laptop to contain Visual Studio Code or Android Studio, the laptop needs to be like over 84 GB RAM. So if you don't have that kind of laptop, please make use of the Notepad. So first of all, we're going to be learning the languages and tools of web development. Then maybe later on we can enter the key concepts like the URL, HTTP, and DOM. Then we'll also look at how websites work. We can also look at the basics of HTML and CSS, and also validating web pages. So, languages and tools of web development. Every website has two ends, the front end and the back end. The front end is the part you see in your browser and interact with, that is all the visual aspects, while the back end is the part that powers the front end. It's behind the scenes and is mainly about storing data and databases. Now, web development falls into three categories, that is the front end development, the back end development, and the full stack development. Now, the full stack development involves both the front end and the back end. Front end developers use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to build. Now, the meaning of HTML is hypertext markup language, while the meaning of CSS is cascading style sheets. JavaScript is usually used for adding functionality to our web pages. Now, HTML is a markup language and CSS is a styling language. JavaScript is a programming language. So some people might actually think that HTML is fully a programming language. Some people consider it a programming language, but it is mainly a markup language, and CSS is for styling our website, so it's called a styling language. Now we move on to the learning path. Front end begins with HTML and CSS. If you spend 3 to 5 hours a day studying or coding, you should be able to have a reasonable understanding of these two languages in about a month or a month and a half. Learning JavaScript will take you another 6 weeks of your time. You won't be an expert, but you'll have a reasonable understanding. Now we move to frameworks. Building websites often include a bunch of repetitive tasks. This is where front-end frameworks and libraries come in. A framework or library comes with a lot of codes we can reuse in our websites, so they help us get the job done faster. That's why a lot of companies make use of one of the popular frameworks like React, Angular, and so on. Technically, React is not a framework but a library, but all the tools serve the same purpose. Now, you don't need to learn all to get started, but if you're starting now, focus on React because it's the most popular tool in this phase. For React, you'll probably need 1 to 2 months. Now the next is version control system. We use the version control system to track our project history, work collaboratively with others. We have many VCS such as Git, Subversion, that is SVN, and Mercurial. Yeah, Mercurial. But Git is the most popular in this phase and it is used in more than 70% of software development teams. Git takes about 2 weeks to learn. Don't try to learn too many things quickly. You won't learn anything. So next we'll be moving to how the web works. Have you ever wondered how the web works? I'm going to tell you what happens. The moment you type the address of a website and hit enter, like http www something something, that is called a URL, which stands for Uniform Resource Locator. Resources can be web pages, that's HTML documents, images, video files, fonts, and so on. So we type the URL and hit enter. What happens next? Well, there are two pieces involved here: the browser or clients and servers. The client requests a service, the server provides the service. So our browser sends a message to the server and says, hey, give me the homepage of this website. Now, for some who do not know, HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It is a language that clients and servers use to talk to each other. It is not a programming language. We also have HTTPS, which is HTTP plus encryption. So the client sends a message to the server, then the server figures out what exactly the client is asking and then sends a message back to the client. The first message is called an HTTP request, and the second message is called a HTTP response.